Hello everyone, just a quick catch-up video. It is Friday. Just to make sure we've got something out for today and going into this weekend to see what we're potentially looking at. We had a few ideas yesterday that not many of them played out, to be honest. We didn't really get the confirmations we were looking for, especially in this region. But we're just gonna talk through them and see whether we had any setups, any false setups, whether we should have been in any trade. So if we have a look at our last potential plays, what we were talking about is that we had there's two red lines, right? We were treating this as a range. We said we've got this red line being our range, but we're aware that we had this 45-minute zone in pink, and it was overlapping. Um, no, we had this demand range in pink, and it was overlapping with a 45-minute zone. So the idea was, well, we've set the initial low. We're going to play around within our range. We broke structure momentarily on the 15. However, this was not a break on the higher time frames as we looked at. We could tell that this was like a 2-hour SFP. We rotated down. So we said, ideally we would want to see, if this is a break of structure on the 15, we want to see a high low. And where best to get this high low than that 15-minute demand zone. Now, in the case that, the higher time frame, rules and this, 2-hour SFP plays out, we should be expecting a rotation all the way down to this low. And that's where we're going to look for an entry, hence why we have this setup here. Okay. And then we said, right, in the case that we do bounce off this 15-minute zone, we're going to be looking at this 45-minute supply zone to get potential reaction, as well as the range high, as usual, to get a range deviation play. Now, let's take a look and see if any of those played out. Well, first of all, what we can see here is that, price came down for this 15-minute zone. We had one reaction off this 15-minute zone, but this reaction didn't lead to a break in structure. What we'd want to see is this, as you can see here from this dotted diagram, is ideally we'd want to see this reaction break structure here, all right, giving us a nice breaking structure at about 57k, the retracement and a continuation. So we did get a tiny reaction, but there was just not enough juice to break structure. So as a result, we rotated down for a second attempt at the low. Now this second attempt is still a place to look for a trade. However, when you're reacting into a demand zone, ideally we want to get the reaction off the first attempt. Because if we're basing it on the idea that based off of this impulse over here, we have big or high volume players who have a lot of unfilled orders, why will those unfilled orders take one tap, two tap, three taps to get filled? Right? So the more and more taps you get into a zone, yes, it could still work, but it sort of decreases its effectiveness as far as supply and demand theory goes. So that invalidates trade number one. So we didn't get trade number one come out. Okay. Now, some of you could have thought, you know what? Let me play this as an internal range in itself. All right. This being the range low, this being the range high, and this being a potential model. However, we did come into that range low. All right. And we didn't quite break structure on the range low, as we can see here. We had two bear bars followed by one bull trend bar, but this white bar did not trade higher than the black bar. Okay. Um, so that's that. Now we're going to analyze this region to see whether we got a momentary break. It looks like we may have had, an internal break in structure here, but we're going to take a look at that in a second. Okay, and then next, what happens is price tried to rally up, and then it came back really aggressively. Perhaps it reacted off a zone in here, but it did come back really aggressively. It wicked off this last low high, okay, didn't close above it either. And it rallied all the way down to this blue line being our range low. So for those of you who are here for the first time, now you may not understand what I'm talking about here, but just go through Wednesday's video, go through Thursday's video to get an idea as to exactly what I'm talking about. Because in those videos, I talk about, each and every POI or point we're talking about here. So yes, we come to this blue line. We get we get a tiny reaction, but it's not a notable reaction. It's nothing I would want to trade, and nothing I'm interested in trading really. Okay, so we come back for another low, and this is where it starts to get interesting because we come back for another low, yeah, and then we do get a break in structure here. We have a break in structure here. However, that break in structure, okay, it's an interesting one because it's in a very weird position. So why don't we go into the charts, and we're going to look at some of these ideas in live setting. But first of all, just a quick shout out to everyone who has followed the channel recently. So let's see. So shout out to we had a decent amount of followers yesterday. Shout out to here we go. This is where TJ butchers all the names. All right. Shout out to Michael Wallat. All right, shout out Michael. Shout out to Door SR999. Shout out to you. Shout out to Ali Hader Panois. Shout out to you, my man, and shout out to Al. I'm not even gonna try that, man. Why do you guys make the names so complex? Is it because when you're making these accounts, your names are already taken? Some of these names are crazy, man. But yeah, shout out to all of you. Thanks for the support, and welcome to the family. I hope these videos are helping you, and if they are, don't forget to hit the like, hit the boost, follow on YouTube, and just show support in any way you can. All right, so anyway, so we're talking about this zone here. Now, okay, so for those of you who are here for the first time, let's just quickly go through what these lines are, this red line and that blue line. Well, first of all, that blue line is the range low of our our macro range. If this is our first tap, this is our second tap, this is our third tap, we have a fourth tap here. Okay, so that blue line was that low of that range, all right? Now that low was coming in at a very interesting place because we had an old demand range there and a 45-minute demand zone that was confluent in that zone. Now I love to have supply and demand zones in the outskirts of my range. I think those are the best, and those work really well. And here we've got the same thing. We've got our range high, then we've got a 2-hour zone above that. That's a nice setup right there because chances are price comes up, wicks into your zone, and then reacts and gets accepted back into the range. So what we have here then is we have this big range, all right, and this big range was from this structure that we were considering, whereby you have an uptrend, you have some sort of range. Initially, we thought it was going to be, kind of a bull flag that did that. However, we seem to be, having a lot of interest at the lower parts of this range, at the discount of this range. So there is a lot of selling pressure suggesting that price is trying to come down. Now, price is trying. We don't know yet if it's going to be successful. And in order for it to be successful, it has to close below this 45-minute zone. And if it does close below this 45-minute zone, there are a few tiny areas and obstacles in the way. And then we're heading back straight for this level over here. All right. So let's go back into the commentary. So what we've got here is we were saying that if we let's go on a 30-minute, let's tidy this up slightly. So this idea didn't quite play out. So we get rid of that. This 15-minute zone is useless now. So we get rid of that. And we mentioned that we're gonna investigate this region to see whether we had a trade there. So why don't we do that now? So I'm just gonna shade that in gray. And we're going to see that the market structure on the way down to this low, this is the low we were considering. The market structure on the way down, it gave us something that looked like this. So on the way down, I'm not going to draw everything out, but we had a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. We had a lower low on a 12-minute. Okay, so do you know what? We didn't actually get a flipping market structure. We have a lower high, a lower low, a lower low, then we have a lower high, and then we have a low low, low high, low low. So I don't see a flip. I don't see a flip on a 12-minute. I don't really see a flip on a 10-minute. Okay, so there's no way we should have really been in any of those trades. And this price action, it's not nice. It's not an easy one to trade, especially if you're a beginner trader. You can very easily get lost here. But again, we did not see a flip in market structure, so we shouldn't really be in a trade as of yet. Now, as we get to this zone, we did get a flip. So if we look at, let's just double check. I need to check if this is proper structure being drawn out here. So bear with me one moment. Yeah, so that counts. So we're gonna say, yeah, this is a lower high, this is a lower low, okay. And ultimately, we do get a flip here. We get a flip right around here. This being your boss, okay, and we get a flip, and that flip gives us our first higher high, okay. However, that higher high didn't last very long, did it? We had a first higher high in green, and then following that, we had this flush down, okay. So now some of you are thinking, well, we had that break in structure. Why are we getting this immediate flush down? What's going on? Well, the reason we're getting this immediate flush down is because, first of all, if we're considering where this break in structure took place, okay, what caused the break in structure? Well, nothing really caused that break in structure. Why? Other than it was already dipped into obviously our demand range, but we can also see here that this low here is coming in at 55,509. It does not take out this low, and this low is situated at 55,501. So this low doesn't trade lower than that low. So this move here did not grab any liquidity, which makes me think, well, price has a reason to come further down to grab that liquidity. And not just that, we also have this 45-minute zone that hasn't been tagged. Yes, we've come into the demand range, but we have a 45-minute zone in gray that has not been tagged. Now, these are two reasons as to why price could have come down. Now, yesterday I was in a restaurant and I looked at the price action and I thought, we've had this break, but, is there a reason to get a break? No. So am I going to enter a trade? I'm going to be a bit more careful. And even if I am, I'm going to obviously risk maybe not the 1%, but maybe risk, 0.4, 0.5%. And let's say you did enter that trade. The moment you enter that trade, you'd be looking for that retracement, wouldn't you? All right, so we got a retracement, but look at the way we retrace very aggressively, okay? And did we react off any zone? The retracement zone for reaction would have been here. Okay, and look what happened. We flushed straight through that zone, okay? So that was probably the telltale sign that you shouldn't be in that one. So now what's happened now? So now we can get rid of all of this. Now we are in that zone. We have tagged that zone. And we're going to be looking to see what price does at the zone, because this is a key zone, and obviously earlier, I think where was it? Where was our PO3? Where did it start? Okay, our PO3 was last Sunday, 25th of August. Was it 25th? I don't know if it was last Sunday, but it was the 25th of August. Now, we had our PO3, and that PO3 was whereby we had obviously our accumulation. We had our accumulation over here. We had our manipulation of retail traders up there. Okay. And then following that, we had a nice juicy expansion down. Okay, we talked about this already. And that hit the target of our PO3. Now, I can see something interesting in the chart, which is we may potentially be getting another PO3 take place over here, whereby if you flip what's going on, you've got your, potentially your accumulation. All right. So we can label that as our accumulation. Let's see accumulation. And then following the accumulation, you have your manipulation of retail traders. You've got your manipulation of traders, so that dip into that zone, and then following that, we get a nice expansion all the way up, a nice expansion all the way up. So looking like this, okay. So we've got accumulation, manipulation, expansion. This could still be in play. Why? Because yes, we've had this break down from this range, yeah, but it's not a very convincing break. It's not a break that decisively flushes through these demand zones. So this is why this is the decisional key level we are waiting for to see what price does at this zone. Are we going to consolidate and move up, or are we going to break down, okay, and go and try and take out these lows? So that's what we're looking out for. So I'm definitely going to be looking out for a long at this zone if we get a nice flip in market structure. Now, in the case that we are not going up, in the case that the bulls are disappointed, now where am I going to be looking for shorts? Okay, all right, so first of all, because we've broken down one further leg down, these ideas, they kind of become a little bit void. So they're not completely void because I still want to know there's a 2-hour zone there. I still want to know there's a 45-minute zone there. So I'm just going to shrink them. Okay, and I'm kind of going to tidy this up a bit. So we have a clear picture of what's going on. Yeah. All right. So next, we can also see that, in terms of our liquidity, we've got a bit of a change now because we didn't get the reaction there that we were looking forward to, but instead, bear with me one moment. It's difficult fiddling with these the tools. Instead, we're getting this trend line of liquidity that looks like that, which does look nice. I like the look of that. I definitely like the look of that. So we're having successively, lower highs that are forming this nice little curved liquidity. Now this is reason for price to rally up, and not only do we have that, we have this nice curve here as well. Okay, so again, more reason, more stop losses for price to come up and grab. I believe if we do get a move up, it's going to be a rapid one. It's going to be a very fast move up, and it's going to be something that you'd want to get into early. So again, we're going to look out to see what price does at this zone. How am I going to enter that trade? Well, I'm going to treat this as a classic range. I'm going to wait for price to, flip structure here. Right now, this is my last lower high. Okay, so right now, this is my key level. Now, if price does flip structure bullishly there and gives me a nice retracement, I'm definitely going to be in that one. Okay, I'm just going to quickly check market cipher to see if we've got a divergence here. So yes, we do have a divergence here. We have price rallying, creating lower lows. Okay, from this low to that low. And we've also got our momentum wave giving higher highs. All right, so we're getting a nice divergence on the higher time frames. That was on a 45-minute. Let's see what's happening on a 4-hour. Well, as far as a 4-hour time frame goes, well, on a 4-hour, that's also the key level to break. Okay, so this is a very key decisive level. And because your 4-hour internal structure goes like this. Your 4-hour internal structure goes like this. It goes like this: a low, a high, a low. So if we were to flip structure there and retrace and head up, if we get a retracement, that would be quite nice. Okay, and that would be definitely a trade that I think will move. All right, and that would be an interesting one because it will be basically we get a bearish PO3 followed by a bullish PO3. But that's a bullish scenario, right? That's what I see as far as the bulls go. Now, so I'm going to just get rid of this because we have an understanding of what's going on. We don't need to crowd a chart. So as far as the structure here in terms of this kind of liquidity pool, all right, what I see going on here is, we kind of have a nice downtrend. We have low, 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 high, low, 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 high, low, low. And then wick that low high. Okay, we create another low, boom, and now we're here. Okay, so this is what looks like is taking place as far as this market structure goes. All right, so what we want to see is, in the case we want to enter a continuation short and we think price is going to continually go down, we would like to see a decisive close, and lose this level, lose this demand zone. So perhaps something like that, this being your breaking structure. And if that happens, we're going to be looking to get that retracement somewhere around here, hopefully. Okay, and then looking to take that down, entering a nice little short position right around there. Okay, but don't forget, we are going into the weekend, and during the weekends, things tend to move a little bit slower, all right, because we've got lower volume. However, we have also got Sunday coming up. In the last few weeks, Sundays have been the day where we got the most notable moves, all right? So definitely just pay attention to what price does. Even if you're not trading on Saturday and you're spending time with the family, the kids, etc., make sure you just keep an eye out on the chart on Sunday, or just set your alerts. Okay, set your alerts. Simply because we haven't had many crazy moves this week. We haven't had many juicy setups this week. However, the week is not done yet, and we've still got today to look out for. But anyways, so that's kind of what I'm looking out for. So So, all right, DJ. So where should I be looking to set my alerts now? Where are my potential areas for longs? Where are my potential areas for shorts? Okay. So first of all, I realize, and you'd be silly not to realize that, hey, this is a very key level. We've got a daily level still coming in at 49,892. And that's because in terms of our daily structure goes like this: high, 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 low, high, high. Okay. So we could still come all the way down here and carry on up. Okay. So this is a key level to obviously watch for long. And that daily level is obviously coming in at a nice region for our range as well. So if we were to pull out a range and draw that nicely, 1 second, let's just change that to range. What color should we make that? Let's make that blue, light blue. Increase the thickness so you guys can see it. Give it thickness. Okay, we'll go with that. Okay, so this is a range also. Yeah, this being the range low, because our structure there, looks as follows. It looks like we've got, a low here. Excuse me. Looks like we've got a low, a high, a low, a high, a low. Then this would be a high, and then this would be a key zone. So we're looking at that zone to see, are we potentially going to get, a reaction here? Are we going to come down like this, creating low lows and low highs, and then boom, we get that reaction there. So this is a key zone. But in order to do that, we are going to need to obliterate these zones. I don't want to see a flipping market structure in either of these zones. All right. In order to do that, because if I do, that may tell me that perhaps we're not quite coming all the way down to these lows. So I think this is a very pivotal time for Bitcoin. And this is a time where you kind of have to be glued to the charts, because the moment we start losing this daily level, the moment we start closing below this daily level, that is problematic, because that means on the daily we are in line for a lower high to come further down and target this weekly zone. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm keeping my eyes on. All right, let's just do some let's put some alerts in there for you guys this weekend, and let's see what's up. So I'm going to be looking for a long here. All right, that's quite an obvious one. So we're going to be looking for long number 1 here. That's an obvious one. Okay. Obviously, we know we're looking for a trade here already. This yellow box is our fib, golden pocket. We know that. Okay. And we're already looking for a trade here. As soon as we get a flipping structure, we're taking it. All right. And that's kind of, those are the main zones. Yes, you can also watch these zones for reactions. Okay, I'll just give you the coordinates for that quickly. So you've got 1 hour zone at 51,583. You've got another zone that's 52,215. And you've got another zone at 53,226. All right, so definitely have a look at those. And, am I going to be looking to short here? No, we were right in the middle of our range. In terms of our internal range, we're in discount. So does it make sense to prioritize a short here? Yes, we can get a nice little retracement short all the way down there. But just be careful with those ones. And those will definitely be a scalp short. Okay, so trade number 1 over there. Trade number 2, we're currently at that level now, so we should be looking at the charts to see what's going on. Okay, as soon as we get a flip there and a retracement, I'm going to be in that one. And as far as the charts go, those are the only 2 trades. Those are the only 2 trades I really like. Okay, yeah, and I'm not going to give you something I don't like. So those are the 2 main trades I like. So we're going to wait and see what happens. Of course, there are ample possibilities, but we're going to wait for those and see if we do get a reaction off of these. Feel free to take those. All right. Otherwise, hope you've had a good week. Hope you've had, hope you've found these videos useful. And don't forget to hit the follow button, hit the subscribe, hit me up on YouTube, and I will see you on Monday.